the Trump administration has now declared it will cut off all federal funding to sanctuary cities and states unless they change their policies. As Tim Walz continues to stoke the flames of chaos in Minnesota, but after the latest attack on another ICE agent, the president has now been given a clear reason to invoke the very thing Democrats cannot stop. As always, smash that thumbs up button. Let me know you like the video. Subscribe to the channel for more and share this video. That way more people see what's really going on. So it should be noted, during Trump's first term, states dominated by Democrats started to make moves to ensure they remain blue, the biggest of which was establishing themselves as sanctuary states. You see, these laws restricted cooperation with ICE, barred local law enforcement from assisting federal immigration operations, and protected illegal immigrants even after arrest in many cases. And so as a result, we saw one of the largest waves of illegal immigration in recent history, shifting population numbers, gaining more seats in Congress, and building a new voter bloc. But now the Trump administration is done playing games. He's given sanctuary states a clear ultimatum. Fix your policies or the money stops. Take a listen.
We're giving 90-day notices to places like California, Scott. Right away, we're going to send out that notice. Who would bill the federal government as people poured into the state to send those people back because no country can afford to do it? No country can afford to take in millions of people, pay for their education, their health care, their hospitals. You just can't do it. And we all have a heart. You can't do it. But many of those people are murderers. They're people released from jails, prisons, mental institutions, insane asylums. They're people that are drug dealers. They're addicts. Additionally, starting February 1st, we're not making any payments to sanctuary cities or states having sanctuary cities because they do everything possible to protect criminals at the expense of American citizens, and it breeds fraud and crime and all of the other problems that come. So we're not making any payment to anybody that supports sanctuary cities. We have also suspended nearly 8,000.
So let's be clear, because I know there are a lot of people who didn't know this, even myself. A lot of people don't know how sanctuary policies were originally. When you talk about like the 80s, when they had bipartisan support, Democrats, Republicans, churches, faith groups, all of it. Back then, sanctuary was humanitarian. It was limited. It was voluntary. Churches were offering temporary protection to refugees fleeing civil wars in Central America. The focus was on asylum seekers, not criminals. There were no state laws blocking federal enforcement, no local police being told they couldn't cooperate, no mobs interfering with arrest. No one was trying to undermine federal authority. No, none of that. Now you fast forward to today, and sanctuary has been completely redefined by the Democrat Party. Sanctuary now means Democrat-dominated states passing laws that restrict cooperation with ICE. It means that law enforcement is barred from assisting federal agents, even after arrest in many cases. It means criminal aliens being released back onto the streets. It means federal officers being obstructed, harassed, followed to their hotels, and even attacked, as we've seen. And what started as compassion has now turned into defiance. And let's be honest about the incentive structure here. These policies don't just change out of nowhere. They don't. They inflate population numbers. I mean, look at California. They increase congressional representation. They help build a new voter bloc. But all the while, federal authority is being undercut for political gain. You have leaders like Tim Walz now publicly fueling the flames of chaos. Walz went so far as to claim that federal agents are going door to door ordering people to point out where their neighbors of color live. Because liberals like Tim Walz, if they can't make it racial, they don't have anything to stand on. But take a listen.
Masked, undertrained ICE agents are going door to door, ordering people to point out where their neighbors of color live. They're pulling over people indiscriminately, including U.S. citizens, and demanding to see their papers. And at grocery stores, at bus stops, even at our schools, they're breaking windows, dragging pregnant women down the street, just plain grabbing Minnesotans and shoving them into unmarked vans, kidnapping innocent people with no warning and no due process. Let's be very, very clear. This long ago stopped being a matter of immigration enforcement. Instead, it's a campaign of organized brutality against the people of Minnesota by our own federal government. Last week, that campaign claimed the life of Renee Nicole Good. We've all watched the video. We've all seen what happened. And yet, instead of conducting an impartial investigation so we can hold accountable the officer responsible for Renee's death, the Trump administration is devoting the full power of the federal government to finding an excuse to attack the victim and her family. Just yesterday, 6 federal prosecutors, including the longtime career prosecutor leading the charge to investigate and eliminate fraud in our state's programs, quit their jobs rather than go along with this assault on the United States Constitution. But as bad as it's been, Donald Trump intends for it to get worse. This week, he went online to promise that, quote, the day of retribution and reckoning is coming. That's a direct threat against the people of this state, who dared to vote against him 3 times and who continue to stand up for freedom with courage and empathy and profound grace. All across Minnesota, people are stepping up to help their neighbors who are being unjustly and unlawfully targeted.
Understand, when you look at Tim Waltz, you are looking at a desperate man, ladies and gentlemen, who has more skeletons in his closet than he can hide. The ongoing investigation into the massive $9 billion fraud that has occurred under his watch, including reports of whistleblowers saying they warned him with the recent announcement that he won't run for re-election, despite the fact that he goes on about all the wonderful things he says he's doing to make Minnesota a great state. But after 2 terms in office for a state that has no limit on governor term limits, understand that this is the distraction tampon Tim needs. He needs to be seen as the champion for what he is attempting to paint as unlawful arrest of neighbors of color. You got to love that liberal talk, right? Always looking to sound like they're inclusive, but instead they sound more idiotic in the process. Because as he is demonizing the agents doing their job, he has basically given the left-wing extremists a green light to disregard their authority. Just take a look at this, ladies and gentlemen. As Minnesota rioters successfully break open a weapons locker and a federal vehicle and stole a rifle and ammunition before fleeing. Take a look.
Almost there.
Oh, wow. Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
Bullet? There's some bullets.
Hey, that's a 40 shell?
I don't know. Ain't no way. Tourniquet there.
Did he get...
Okay.
Hey, don't film that.
Who's that running?
Go. Oh, shit. Eventually, you know, with the truck, that's where it goes.
They stole weapons, they broke into a federal agent's vehicle, and took what is believed to be a rifle from a federal agent. They also took charging documents, likely arrest warrants, and other sensitive federal law enforcement materials. And they did it with no mask, on camera, no fear, using tools, acting like there would be no consequences because that's what the Democrat leadership has led them to believe. The situation completely has gotten out of control. And let's be clear, this is not protest. This is not free speech. This is violent, terroristic extremism. And these people need to be rounded up. Peaceful protest has always been allowed. Civil disobedience has always existed in this country. But this is not that. And in the next clip you're about to see from a different incident, but a part of the same pattern, federal law enforcement officers were conducting a targeted operation in Minneapolis to arrest an illegal alien released into the country under the Biden administration. The suspect fled in a vehicle, crashed into a parked car, ran on foot, then violently assaulted an officer. While the officer was on the ground struggling to make the arrest, 2 additional individuals came out of a nearby apartment and attacked the officer with a snow shovel and a broom handle.
DHS says at 6:50 p.m. Central Time tonight, quote, federal law enforcement officers were conducting a targeted traffic stop in Minneapolis of an illegal alien from Venezuela who was released into the country by Joe Biden in 2022. In an attempt to evade arrest, the subject fled the scene in his vehicle and crashed into a parked car. The subject then fled on foot. The law enforcement officer caught up to the subject on foot and attempted to apprehend him when the subject began to resist and violently assault the officer. While the subject and law enforcement were in a struggle on the ground, 2 subjects came out of a nearby apartment and also attacked the law enforcement officer with a snow shovel and broom handle. As the officer was being ambushed and attacked by the 2 individuals, the original subject got loose and began striking the officer with a shovel or broomstick. Fearing for his life and safety as he was being ambushed by 3 individuals, the officer fired defensive shots to defend his life. The initial subject was hit in the leg. All 3 subjects ran back into the apartment and barricaded themselves inside. The attacked officer and subject are both in the hospital. Both attackers are in custody. This is another attack. This attack on another brave member of law enforcement took place while Minnesota's top leaders, Governor Walz and Mayor Frey, are actively encouraging an organized resistance to ICE and federal law enforcement officers. Their hateful rhetoric and resistance against men and women who are simply trying to do their jobs must end. So a very lengthy statement there, Sean, but it sounds a whole lot more complicated than what we initially had, that this was one person involved with a shovel. It sounds like ICE was going after a Venezuelan illegal alien who had been caught and released at the border by the Biden administration in 2022. That person crashed into a parked car, got out and fled. ICE was chasing him down, and then while they were wrestling on the ground, 2 people came out of a nearby apartment and then started attacking the ICE officer with shovels. And during that ambush attack, that is when the officer pulled out his weapon, fired, and hit one of the suspects, who, again, is stable. So it sounds like the suspects are in custody, and this is being described to Fox News from DHS as yet another attack on ICE officers in Minneapolis, Sean.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has to stop now. And it's clear the weak governor isn't going to stop it. You can't go around putting a battery in your citizens' backs, telling the masked men are disappearing people, claiming these agents are conducting unlawful acts. Also turn around and say, go out there, y'all, record them so that way we can build up a database and identify these criminal agents. And then expect the people to say, yeah, we're going to keep it peaceful. At that point, you've already planted the seed that federal agents are illegally harming people. Once that seed is planted, the gloves come off. And when the gloves are off, you get outcomes like this. Residents coming out their homes to assault federal officers. Wow. And so now, as if he didn't already have enough of a reason, Trump has spoken and is threatening to invoke the Insurrection Act. And to that I say, do it. It's about time. Take a listen.
Ago, President Trump posting, quote, on Truth Social, if the corrupt politicians of Minnesota do not obey the law and stop the professional agitators and insurrectionists from attacking the patriots of ICE, who are only trying to do their job, I will institute the Insurrection Act, which many presidents have done before me, and quickly put an end to the travesty that is taking place in that once great state.
Thank you, Matt. Nice to see you. Matt Finn there, keeping warm in Minneapolis. Jonathan Fay, he's the former acting ICE director. Sir, welcome back here. How does this end?
Thank you.
Or does it anytime soon?
It seems like what President Trump posted today about invoking the Insurrection Act seems to be the way this is going, and that's the way it will end. And just to invoke the Insurrection Act, he just has to make a determination that is impractical to enforce federal law because of the obstructionist activities. And I think that's apparent just by the reporting you just had. And you have people like Tim Waltz, the irony of him saying they don't want chaos when he is seemingly doing everything he can to sow chaos, to cause division, to encourage people to subvert ICE in their mission. It's really shameful, but I think we're going down the road of the Insurrection Act because Governor Waltz is not going to step up to his responsibility and get his streets safe so ICE can do their job. And remember, ICE is enacting the laws passed by Congress. They're not enforcing them. They are doing something inherently democratic, and Tim Walz and Jacob Frey and others are trying to prevent that.
I would say when local and state law enforcement aren't allowed to work with federal officers because of sanctuary state policies created by the Democrat Party to make sure they cannot, you leave no choice. Democrats think that Trump is going to back down and go away. But the man told you what he was going to do, and now he is doing it. And so if Minnesota law enforcement cannot even assist, and you have chaos like what I've shown you unfolding there, then he has enough of a reason, in my opinion at least, to invoke the Insurrection Act. But here's a breakdown from News Nation talking about those statements from Tim Waltz about his claims about the ICE operations. Take a listen.
So what we're seeing right now is a split screen moment. A week ago, Renee Good was tragically killed while defending people like the people today
With the shovel.
who were shot while attacking ICE with a shovel. That's what we are seeing right now. Exactly the kind of people that the Democrats writ large and the ICE Watch and all of the people who have such a problem with ICE arresting these absolute degenerates, this is what they are defending. Tim Walz put out a video recently, I believe it was today, in which he said, ICE is going door to door arresting our neighbors of color. And that is the sleight of hand that the Democrats have been doing over and over and over again, to act like people who are here illegally, who have committed very serious crimes, who should not be here, in the best case are driving down wages for working class Americans, in the worst case are pedophiles and murderers and other sorts of degenerates, that these are neighbors of color, as if this is like, you know, your neighbor who's of Hispanic descent or your black neighbor. They are erasing the difference between citizen and non-citizen in order to perpetuate this very dangerous situation and to get in the way of ICE actually doing what the American people voted for Donald Trump to do.
And that is the sleight of hand. The choice of words like targeting neighbors and people of color. We see that all the time from the Democrat Party, don't we? They put people into a box as if everyone's the same. Use identity politics. But sorry, only an idiot would believe there isn't a difference between someone who has came to this country legally versus someone who came here illegally. But the Democrat Party wants to lump everyone together in order to push their ultimate narrative. They're coming after people of color. Everybody who's brown and black, they're coming after you. It doesn't matter whether you're legal. It doesn't matter. That's how they want to frame it. Everyone is being arrested indiscriminately. But we know that's not the whole story. But those are my thoughts. Now I want to hear from you. Drop your comments down below. As always, smash that thumbs up button. Let me know you love the video. Subscribe to the channel for more and share this video. That way more people see what's really going on. Until next time.